All right. You guys ready?
Yeah. All right, here we go. And a 3, and a 2, and a...
I'm not hearing it. Are you hearing?
I'm not hearing nothing.
What did you do?
Push the button. Oh, hold on.
Good morning!
Another glorious morning. Makes me sick.
Good morning, my neighbors!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
the Ready Set Radio Show.
Good morning, apartment. Good morning, doorway. Good morning, wall. Good morning, ceiling.
Good afternoon, morning, or evening, whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to a new episode of the Ready Set Radio podcast. My name is Floaty. Over here, as always, well, not as always. The beard is out today because he's getting his calf implants put in. I'm just kidding. He's on vacation. But David Hutcherson, our good friend from our 80 special episodes, has decided to come back today and help my ass out because we have a very cool guest today. Our guest today is a lead singer of a Journey tribute band called Trial by Fire. Please welcome to the Ready Set Radio Show, Ernie Shepherd, please. There's some applause buttons for you. Oh, we get lights too. I'm into it. I discussed my point of view for this episode with Dubs a little bit because I'm so excited that you're here for multiple reasons, but one of them is not that I'm a Journey fan, because I'm not a huge Journey fan. I don't know deep cuts at all, but Faithfully is one of my all-time favorite songs, and I appreciate them. And I was telling David when he got here that the reason I like Journey's music, no matter what song it is, not being a gigantic fan, is like their songs are way more orchestrated than most rock and roll. They know how to use the different instruments and space and air to create the emotion that they want to have you feel. And Journey's always been a very emotive band for me. But off the top, I wanted to let you know that I'm not the Journey fan here. I like Journey, but I love tribute acts, and I love people that love artists, and I love people that like to talk about music.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very looking forward to learning about Journey and your story. But the first thing I wanted to talk about, which is off the wall, I always like to start with a curveball. Yeah. I read in your bio that you're a big Otis Redding fan.
Otis Redding, Sam Cooke.
Yep, Cook.
Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, I love Otis. I love Otis Redding.
Yeah, I love Otis.
I got in. That's because I had a funny story, and this is how my brain works.
You got a favorite Otis Redding song?
I have a few. It's actually the whole record, Dock of the Bay. Oh, it's the one that I've listened to on repeat. But Don't Mess with Cupid is one of my favorites. Nobody Knows You is another great song off that record. If you haven't listened to that, JDubs, I'm sure you haven't.
Great record.
But a start to finish banger record. Yeah. That record is great. It's great. It's great for love. Oh, it's nice. Great. It's great for those kind of bedroom times.
My favorite Otis song is These Arms of Mine.
Oh, yeah.
That don't get a lady ready.
and Marvin Gaye, but I wanted to bring that up. I saw it in your bio, and I was like, well, I like Otis Redding a lot, but that album I have heard hundreds of times on repeat.
Great stuff. Instant respect.
So I did my research because I didn't grow up a giant Journey fan. So I want to start at the beginning for them and you. Yeah. And I want David to kind of help me out with filling in the blanks here. So my first thing here is about Journey. Journey formed in 1973 in San Francisco, and they were originally a jazz rock fusion band led by former Santana and pronounce this right for me, from U.S. Bandersnatch members. Is that right?
Yeah.
Bandersnatch?
Yeah.
And they didn't find mainstream success, until they leaned into their now famous arena rock sound. That's my first Journey fact that I put on my list here.
Original name of the band was the Golden Gate Rhythm Section.
The Golden Gate Rhythm Section. See, I didn't even see that anywhere. Yeah. That's fantastic. Did you know about that?
I did.
I'm sure you did. You know everything. But my first question to go with that fact is, before we get into you singing your face off all the time and doing your best Steve Perry, what was the first concert you ever went to? And don't say Journey.
No, it wasn't Journey. It was Boston. I went to go see Boston with my older brother.
Nice.
It was really awesome. Went to Worcester Centrum, and what most people from down here would pronounce it Worcesters.
Worcester.
But it's like Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, it's Worcester.
We call it Wash Your Sister sauce.
Yeah, Wash Your Sister. Yeah, exactly. I love that. Cracks me up every time I read that. And we drove out and saw Brad Delp and the band do their thing, and man, they were like perfect.
That is a great first concert, man. Mine was not. Mine was New Kids on the Block with my sister who won free tickets. That's my.
Well, that's the end of
Nice.
the interview.
I know, right? Let me wait till you see the tattoo.
I should look too.
This is my Jordan and John tattoo.
Nice.
So, when you were young, were you always singing?
Yeah, my parents said I came out screaming in key. So,
Nice.
so yeah. I have an older brother, as I mentioned, and he was the family favorite, and he hung out with Dad, and they did like, guy stuff.
Right.
And I was not swinging a hammer and turning a wrench. It just wasn't me. It just didn't connect with me. But my father loved to listen to his record collection, and so that's how I connected with him. I joined him on Saturday nights when he get his records out, and I learned all the songs and sing along.
What was he into?
Oh my God! Well, he's the reason why I like Otis Redding. He loved 50s rock and 60s rock and soul music.
Soul music.
Yeah, it was great. It was just fun stuff.
Did you ever dance around in the living room or your bedroom with like a hairbrush or something?
That
pretending
was
to
later.
sing?
That was later when I discovered Journey. Discovered Journey like 11 years old, and man, the mirror was there, the hairbrush was there. I couldn't help myself. It was just a dream, When you're a singer, it's just
Right.
even just pretending is almost enough.
I had the
It's
same
strange.
things, but I was a guitar player,
Yeah.
and I used a broom many a time
Nice.
as
Yeah.
a pretend guitar.
I
trying
used
to
a tennis
emulate.
racket.
Tennis racket.
Nice.
Ah, man, we had one too. I didn't even think about that.
It has strings
I
on
had to
it.
touch a
That's
dirty
right.
broom, man. But I'm stealing one of David's questions. I showed the paper. He showed me his paper, and
Already cheating off the test.
I know. At what age did you start realizing that you could kind of do the Steve Perry thing?
Very late in life, believe
Okay.
it or not. Yeah, I'm a big fan, and the reason why I became a fan of Journey was because of my connection with my father's record collection. At age 11, my favorite stuff was from the 50s and 60s, and all my friends from school were like, why you like all that old music? There's some cool new stuff, and
Yeah.
they tried to introduce me to it, and I was like, it's not doing it for me.
I feel that.
And then one day, a frustrated friend threw on Journey's Escape, and I heard Steve Perry's voice, and I'm like, oh, that's Sam Cooke.
Wow, I could see that.
And so, like, it bridged the gap for me, and so I started listening to Journey more, and I'm like, that guy can sing his ass off. So, out of respect, I didn't think anybody could sing like Steve Perry. I don't think anybody should try to sing like Steve Perry. He's a one of a kind voice, like Freddie Mercury, Robert Plant. They're one of a kind. And so, I just had the utmost respect. And then later in life, midlife crisis, divorce, I knew how to play a little bit of guitar to be dangerous, and my then wife went home to New England, where we're from, for the holidays, and left me alone in the house, and I was bored and had nothing going on. So I got out my guitar and started playing lights for the hell of it, key of D, and just started singing along. And the more I sang, the more I got a little confused. I thought I was having a delusion, much like the logo moving. I thought I was having a stroke or something. I was like, what is going on?
There it is.
Yeah. And I got to the point where I actually went across the street to the neighbor. I said, can I sing a song for you and tell me if I'm losing my mind? And,
Like, does this actually sound
Yeah,
good and like Steve Perry, or am
and-
I just losing it?
and she goes, you sound just like the guy from Journey. And I'm like, wow, that's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched several of Trial by Fire's videos, man, and it's impressive. Not just you sounding like Steve Perry, but the band in general.
Oh,
Very, very good.
My band is incredible.
Killer band.
I tell everybody I'm the weakest link in the band. I really am. These guys are phenomenal. Keyboard player has been playing over 50 years.
See, that's the right attitude to have, I feel, in any band. Like, if you feel like you're the best in the band, then like,
You need another band.
yeah, you need another band.
I can't even believe you found a keyboard player.
Yeah. No, that's
And he's got like 50 keyboards. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's an amazing human being. His
'Cause-
name's, I want to give him a shout out. His name's Don McCrae.
Don, what's up, guys?
And Don was in a Journey tribute band that I had respect for. I didn't even know Journey tribute band was a thing, honestly. That's another story. But when I fumbled across this Journey tribute band, he was their fill-in keyboard player. And I was like, wow, that guy's amazing. I wish I could get him in my band. That'd be wonderful. Then one night I'm playing a place down in Burlington. It's not there anymore. It used to be called Brew Balls.
Yeah, I remember Brew Balls.
And I'm playing there, and it's like this shack of a place, and scratching to try and make a name for yourself. Nobody thinks you can do anything, so you take any and every gig you can get. And
Yep.
who walks to the door but Don McCrae
Wow.
to see the band? And I got his number, he got my number, and next thing you know, he's filling in for me for shows.
Filling in permanently.
And then all of a sudden, I said, how many of these shows can you do that are on the schedule? Because I really don't have anybody right now. He's like, I can do all but one. And I was like, oh, we'll just cancel that one.
Yeah.
we'll
Worth
be
it.
all right with that.
So you brought it up. Why don't you go ahead and go through your band and kind of tell us a little bit about everybody in your band?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about Don. So Kevin Lynch is our drummer. He's our newest member. He's been with us 3 years now.
We recognize him from Greensboro, like the music scene.
He's a local dude. He was actually a fan of the band, and he kept saying, "Hey, if you ever need a guy, if you ever need a guy, if you ever need a guy," and we went through a run of really talented drummers that had too much going on.
Right.
So we had like 2 drummers in 1 year, and I was like, "The hell with this!"
It's a lot to manage.
I'm getting really. Yeah, that's the other thing that people don't realize is I'm also the band manager, booking agent, art director,
Doing all the
website,
work, yeah.
everything. So the only thing I don't do is play the 4 instruments.
Right.
And so I'm like, let's give this guy Kevin Lynch a try. And so we went to his house, and he has a house, and each room there's a drum kit set up.
Oh,
And I'm like,
dream.
That's how I was about to say. That sounds
The
like your type of
dream.
place,
I gotta
buddy.
pack one up every time I set another one up.
he's like, what drum set do you want to work with? I'm like, all right, whatever one you want to do. We jammed with him on like 10 songs, and his house is the cleanest house I ever saw in my life. He's a little ADHD, and I just vibe with him right away. And
That's a good person to have in a vehicle driving around doing shows. Have someone that likes to
Well,
clean up. Like
I took a valuable lesson I learned early on in the band. Started it in 2007, and a lot of the local Charlotte guys kind of threw a bunch of advice at me. And one of them was, don't pick the band member that you're going to be on stage with for 2 hours. Pick the one you're going to be trapped in a band for 12 hours.
Yep.
In a van for 12 hours.
We've had some good experiences.
So I try to like
with that.
all the guys in the band.
Shout out to everybody I've been in a van with for 18
Yeah.
hours
You're
plus.
talking about keeping it clean. Floaty likes to hang stuff from the ceiling.
Yeah.
He gets bored.
Yeah, but at least
Write notes when we get into traffic jams. He'll be talking to the people beside us through notes.
shenanigans all times, man. I have bipolar ADHD, so I can't just sit in a car for 18 hours without doing something.
I can relate to that. I can. I have the opposite. I have ADHD, but I become singly focused on one thing and just tune completely out.
I get rare fortunate days where that happens, and I accomplish a lot.
Yeah.
That's when things like that happen.
That's cool. That's cool. The bass player is Richard Barefoot. He's been in multiple bands out of the Charlotte area. He's a great singer, great harmonizer. He's the reason why we got good harmonies in the band.
you
Taught
do
us all
sound-
how to sing those,
You guys do sound great singing, for sure.
and he's fantastic. He's another dream come true.
He reminds me of Teller from Penn and Teller.
He does have a little bit of a teller.
Yes.
He does have a little teller
That's
to
a
him.
compliment if I ever heard one.
And he's like that too. He's very like stoic and quiet until like you mentioned like one of the voices he likes to do imitations. He'll burst into like Freddie Mercury singing a
Nice.
Journey song. It's always like this person singing that kind. It's always
That's
so
great.
juxtaposition. It always gets you off guard. He also does what's that old Broadway singer? Oh, I love a parade. He bursts into that voice all the time, and he's always singing like a Queen song. And you're like, wow, you're throwing my ADHD off, buddy. You're killing me. But he's fun. He's fun. And then our last member is our guitar player, and he's our second to newest player. We had another guitar player in the band who had to leave. He had a health scare, and he needed to get off the road. And good news, he's in full remission. So
Excellent.
so,
That's fantastic.
but now
news.
he's at that point in his life where every moment he can be at his daughter's soccer game. That's what he wants to do, and he just and I love it and I respect it.
I love that too.
And we still talk. We're still friends. That was Scotty, our new guitar player, and I say new. He's been in the band 6 years, maybe 7. His name's Dan Cummings, and he's out of the Durham area, and he jammed with Don on keys, just at this small little bar. It was like an open jam, and his wife, Don's wife, was there, Sherry, and we were needing a key.
No way.
That's Sherry.
Yeah, Sherry. We dedicate "Oh Sherry" to her every time she's there, because if we don't, you don't want to get in that wrath.
No,
So we needed a guitar player, because Scotty had to leave, and Sherry says to Don, "What about Dan? What about Dan?" And I'm like, so I check out this Dan guy online, and he's got this like kind of arrogance to him, and he's got all these solo albums he's put out, and I'm like, It's like not bad 90s rock, but don't tell him I said that.
We'll totally edit that out.
No, leave it in. Him and I got that kind of relationship. We're always giving each other shit. But so he came in, and we had like 6 or 7 guitar players scheduled to jam with us. And he comes in, and I say, the first guy, I say, what do you want to start with? He's like, let's do a song called Mother Father. Now, he probably knows that. I know you don't. That's a deep cut. It's a very classical kind of song. It has a lot of difficult guitar parts. So I was like, the balls on this
Weren't
guy.
expecting that.
Yeah, I was like...
Expecting Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah, play that little solo and Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
But no, he decides to pick one where it's guitar heavy, featured many styles, and the son of a bitch pulled it off.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man. Now we got to sit through these other 5 guys, And
No, you don't.
sadly, we did. And one guy walked in and actually played the solo to Oh Sherry. And I was like, and in Open Arms, I'm like, there's no guitar in Open Arms. It's just that outro. But needless to say, I had my mind set up right after he nailed Mother Father to the wall. And then he did a couple other more popular songs. But once he got through that one song, I was like, wow.
How many times you messed that song name up and said the wrong thing by accident? Have you had to catch yourself a few times?
Yeah, definitely had to. Yeah, it's lined right up there, Mother Father. You got to pause.
Context matters. Where am I right now?
Yes. Oh my God, that I had to learn that the hard way. Being from Boston, we throw the F-bomb around like it's like coffee. Like you guys say coffee, we say the F-bomb. So I'm on stage. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with this fucking guy? Yeah, this guy's fucking. And then like the bar person's losing their mind because I said fuck 3 times in 10 seconds.
Got sound? You know that feeling you get when you smell your first cup of coffee in the morning? It smells like success, like a cheat code for life. Well, that's the feeling you get when you gig with Grind and Brew Productions. Grind and Brew Productions. Sounds so good you can taste it.
All right, thank you, Grind and Brew Production, for sponsoring this episode and every episode. You guys check out grindandbrewproductions.com for all your audio-visual needs, your live performance needs. If you guys ever need a great company, Jason and Henry and those dudes, they do a fantastic job. And they don't even pay me to say that. They're just great people. All right, cool. So my second Journey fact, guys, is Steve Perry joined Journey in 1977, and the band's sound shifted dramatically. His first album with them, Infinity, including hits like Lights and Wheel in the Sky. And were you listening to Journey at that point? Or
No, I had not discovered.
Had not discovered.
The 1981 album Escape was my first introduction to Journey, and then the joy of knowing that there were so many other albums I didn't know about. I went and bought them all, like reversed engineered Journey, and I even found the 3 before Steve Perry joined. I was like, what the hell's this? And then it was such a different band, and like it was almost like another joy because I got to see like the musicianship of the band because it was mainly a jam band before, so it was kind of cool.
So you do like the Greg Rowley
Oh
years.
yeah! Oh my God! My favorite years, honestly, are the pre-Escape years when Greg Rowley and Steve Perry used to do all those duets together, and we do them in our band just because we want the true Journey fans to get the full experience. The Greg Rowley years and the John Cain years. So.
And they were busy that when they first started. It was 8 albums in 7 years,
Yeah.
Including the Dream After Dream album.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they were very busy, and that's what basically ended up ruining the band was they were too busy. Too busy. When you get a voice like Steve Perry and you got to write a record, record a record, tour a record, wash, rinse, repeat, it starts to wear down the voice.
Right.
For sure. And the people making all the money didn't care.
No.
I mean, for a lot of it, they weren't concerned about it because they were part of that first real big wave of gigantic touring all the time bands. Like they were in that before we started seeing the repercussions of touring for 30, 40 years without taking care of yourself. So Steve Perry's vocal range, I wrote down, said somewhere between an angel sigh and I just got dumped and I'm on the roof screaming.
Accurate.
How do you prep for that? Do you have a vocal prep, or do you take care of your voice in any kind of special ways?
I don't sing a lot during the week. I try to save the singing for the shows. Every now and then I'll sing a couple lines just to make sure it's still there.
Yeah.
But honestly, no, I'm not one of those dainty singers. I don't have to have a tea and honey and, you know, use vocal ease and warm up for an hour. I just get out there and go for it, you know. And the key is just always be enthusiastic about it. Be excited that you get to do it. And, you know, try to treat sound check like it's part of the show, but it's not, because it's not the same energy. No. But, you know, I usually know we do separate ways as a sound check song, so I know if I can get through that one, it's going to be an okay show.
I like the way that you feel about that, specifically that the enthusiasm part.
Yeah,
you should be grateful that you get to do something so cool, whether or not you're like making a living from it or not. Just that you get to wake up and do something cool and fun that you enjoy doing. But have you ever had any vocal issues on stage with any of those hard parts and any kind of like nightmare moments?
Let me say this. For me, every show is the first and last show.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good way to look at it.
First time I ever get to do it, last time I might ever get to do it. And so you just go out there and just hammer the hell out of it and try to make that person in the audience go, wow.
Just made me feel like I
You know?
wasted all my time on stage not appreciating it enough, because that's a really good way to look at it. Like, oh man, there was a first and a last in that
Yeah,
band.
you just, and sometimes you don't know when the last is.
Yeah, most of the time.
You're doing a show and you're like, oh, there'll be more.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, no. I've been very fortunate. No vocal issues. When I first started, I didn't know how to do this properly. I was belting constantly. I wasn't using nuances. And so I'd do one show and not be able to really talk or sing for like 2 or 3 days. And I realized if I really wanted to do this, I had to figure out how to do it the right way. And so I jumped on YouTube and like downloaded every like how to sing properly things and just dove into it head first. And now I can sing 3-4 shows in a row and be fine.
And come do a podcast.
And come do a podcast.
But that's
We appreciate you
that's
doing
good
that.
advice for everybody out there. You can learn pretty much anything on YouTube if you're willing to take the time to watch enough stuff. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That was the sound of our like, share, subscribe button.
I liked it. I shared it.
Yeah. Tell all your friends about this silly little podcast. Journey fact number 3. All right, so Don't Stop Believin' is the most downloaded digital track from the 20th century. It's been streamed over 1 billion times on Spotify. That is, I don't know how a song can get played that many times, even though there's 8 billion people in the world. Those numbers are just too astronomical for my brain to comprehend.
It's a lot of downloads.
I like my 160, 170 plays.
People often ask me if I get tired of singing that song.
I was going to ask you, how many times do you think you've sung it?
Let me see. We're going into year 17. God. 60 to 80 shows a year.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
I'm not good at that.
It's hundreds, like 800.
It's been a lot.
It's a lot.
But the truth
Hundreds.
is no, I don't get tired of singing it. I'm fortunate that I get to perform a song that moves people the way it does.
Yeah.
And even if I don't enjoy the song, if like for some reason I'm not enjoying the song, I enjoy the reaction. You know?
Yep.
So it's like doing a magic trick.
So
You've
creepy.
done the magic trick 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You know how it's going to come out, but the audience faces, you're like, I love this trick. It's
You're
true.
going to love it when there are people dancing in front of you with that song.
That's what it's
You're
about.
right, man.
So you just said 17 years. Do we have anything coming up for Trial by Fire for the Big 20?
You know, I have grown children. They constantly ask me how long I'm going to do this for. And I said, well, at least to 20, because I'm a round number guy.
Nice.
And then
Okay.
after that, it has to be 25, because that makes
Minimum.
sense,
But,
right?
but 30's better.
If I'm still doing this at 30 and having as much fun as I am, I'll be blown away. But no, I don't have anything planned yet, because I try not to live in the future. I try to live right where we are.
Nice.
And,
Nice.
you know, just enjoy the moment you're in and the audiences you have and the shows you got on the books, and look forward to 25 and what surprises it might bring and the fun it might be.
I think me personally, like I like that any band, specifically a tribute band that's as good as you guys are, can do it for as long as you have, and have no plans on like stopping anytime soon, at least. And so we all have more chances to see you guys perform.
It's really up to the audience, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's not up to me how long we do this. When the people stop showing up and they don't want to hear Journey's music anymore, and the venues don't want to book it. You know, people are like, when are you going to quit? Oh, I'll know when I'm going to quit.
So we'll get you back to We'll get you back to celebrate 30 and
Yeah.
35.
That'd be great. I can live with that.
But speaking of like Don't Stop Believing, before I get off of that particular song, does it ever hit harder on some nights, like because the crowd's being a certain way, or you're seeing someone going through something with that song, and then it makes you feel it more, or do you kind of have this ability to emulate Steve Perry and not let your vocal performances be affected by that, or just your mood on stage? because just because that person's having this really intimate moment, there could be 50 people directly around them that are just like, oh, I love this song.
That's difficult. The first time I ever felt it, that kind of thing, was I walked out on stage in Springfield, Ohio, and there was 17,000 people in a big field. And we started the song Faithfully. And I said, Highway Run. And they said, Highway Run too. And like I could feel the air from them hit me. And I was like, I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
Like, this is overwhelming. Like, I've never experienced this before.
That is a cool moment.
So similar to that, like, when we do Don't Stop Believing, we kind of do like a reprise. We stop at the end, don't stop. And what Don will play, it's almost like churchy piano. And I'll talk to the audience about, the rough stuff we've all been going through the last few years. And somehow, somebody here at this concert might feel like they're alone. And I use it as my moment, because it's such a big song, to try and find that person who might be having a moment and connect with them, like one-on-one right there in front of everybody, and tell them that, welcome to the family.
That's awesome.
You're not alone. Don't do that. Don't get all weepy. But it's a nice moment. It's a nice thing that I get to do. That it's personal. It's not schlocky. It's not made up. It's just, let's take this moment at the end of this big song and acknowledge that music brings us together, and when it does, it's a very powerful thing, and to not take it lightly.
Yeah, and that connecting with people in the front row, there's a lot of us that's what we're looking for when we go to shows. That's why we get there, 7 hours early to be first in line, so I could be right at the barricade, so I can have those intimate moments. And I know that they're going to make eye contact with me because I'm right in front of their faces, and it's a chance to see a band, an artist, or just anyone in general that's performing on a way more intimate level. And you can have those moments. It's hard to have a connection when you're in the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
Right? You can still have a moment, but it's hard to have that connection.
And I'll tell you another really cool moment, being right up there at the barricades like you're talking about, is turning around and seeing, like, especially if you're at a festival or something like that where there's, 10,000 people there. Turn around and look behind you, and there's just a sea of people. Yeah. Everyone having a good time. Everybody in it in the same moment. Awesome.
Yeah. One
Love
second,
it.
I'm having this personal moment. I'm by myself having this moment. And then I realize, there's thousands of people around me too. Oops, I'm not.
I think that's why it brings us together. It's a shared moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shared atmosphere. It's a shared feeling.
Well, you're talking about connecting with people. I've seen you several times, and one thing, you don't only play the big hits, you play some of the deeper cuts. What do you think the deepest cut you play is, and the crowd's reaction to those songs as opposed to the Don't Stop Believing and Faithfully?
That's a good question. I think Still They Ride is probably the one that gets
Great
the most reaction from people, because it's such an emotional, cinematic song. It talks about a day gone by, where this guy used to ride up and down the streets of his town on his motorcycle, and he was somebody, and now he's nobody.
Ugh.
But still he's out there.
Relate.
So we do that song, and you can see the guy at the biker in the corner. He's like, just look away. So that's a good one. And then
Which one? What's that called again?
Still They Ride.
Still They Ride.
Yeah, we'll check that one
It's
out.
a beautiful song. It really is.
It is.
And then maybe I used to think Motherfucker.
Nah.
I'm not the father.
The lesser known Journey song.
What album is that on?
I used to think that was a lesser known song, and then we stopped doing it for a while, and people got mad at me for not doing it. So I'm like, okay, I guess we got to put that back in the set.
Yeah, when you're really, really good at something, people want to come see more of it. It's hard. It's something that's hard to switch it up. How many songs do you guys rotate in and out? Do you guys? I know.
We have about 35 songs, but there's like a core 22 that we have to play every show.
Yeah,
and then
that makes sense.
If we're lucky, we get to switch out 4 or 5 songs each show to keep it interesting for the fans. And I get upset with the band because they like a certain order because it becomes automatic, and I hate automatic. I don't want it to be automatic. I want it to be dangerous. I want hey, if it mess up, at least they know it's live music.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
But we get into a rut with a set list, and I'm like, let's just
move
these around.
I've done the whole same set list for a whole tour thing, and the pros, in my opinion, don't outweigh the cons. There are pros. That machine thing,
yeah,
the band gets tight, real tight.
Oh yeah, they love that. They love that.
But you're right. You kind of lose like, well, I can't pause here to do this because we're going right into that, and everybody else will be mad if I try to talk or something. So I like the fly by the seat of your pants feel of a rock show, and you can achieve that even if you're organized, you know?
So we're at Virginia Beach at a place called Elevation 27. And I like to walk around the audience before because this whole idea that I'm somebody special is a bunch of bullshit. I'm just a fucking lucky guy who gets to sing Steve Perry and get paid for it. And these are the people that allow me to do it. So I'm going to come out and say hi and hang out. And this guy walks up to me. He's got like one of those big phones. And he's like holding up our set list from setlist.com. And it is the exact show we're planning to do that night. I'm like, oh man! Well, you know that's out there. You're like, oh, you gotta mix it up.
People still do that.
They're sitting there with the phone, going, "Oh, you did that one. You did that one."
Yeah.
I'm like, put your phone away and just enjoy the show. But still,
That's one
To be
thing.
That's
fair,
out there. That's
to be
out
fair, for my favorite bands, I will look at and see if anybody's posted any set lists from earlier shows when my show's coming up, just to see if they're playing any of the songs I really want to hear, the deep cut stuff. You know.
Well, that's what the bands I love. That's what I want to hear is the deep cuts.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
all heard the hits.
That's a hard part with what we do as a Journey tribute. You know, it's the masses that the venue owners want us to please. But then you gotta like as a performer, you gotta look at your audience, see what kind of audience you actually have. And usually I'm lucky. There's always that one guy yelling a song that we never do, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing that one now. You know, because like,
He's the real fan.
Yeah, he's the real fan. He's gonna get what he wants. The rest,
Right.
y'all are gonna get "Don't Stop Believing" a little bit. But let's do a skate.
Because even the
You
deep
know?
cut fans still like "Don't Stop Believing," but and the venue owners are right. Like there's a lot of people that are coming for the hits, but you got a bunch of people also coming that are gigantic deep cut Journey fans that would love you play a deep cut, something that they've never heard any other band play, which for me would be a lot more than most. You guys ready for Journey fact number 4?
Yeah, let's do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
All right, Journey fact number 4. In 1981, Escape became Journey's biggest selling album, featuring Open Arms, Stone in Love, and Who's Crying Now. It hit number 1 on Billboard's 200. Thank you for the sound effect. So we talked a little bit about your bandmates, but I wanted in like the formation. But how'd you guys find each other? Like, were you using ads and stuff, or was it all like I know this person who knows a person?
In the beginning, the dark times. It was
before days.
I'd be like, hey, I'm starting this Journey tribute band. I'm like an established guitar player would be like, that's a bunch of bullshit. There ain't no way you sound like Steve Perry. If you sound like Steve Perry, I'd know who the hell you are. So like I'm like driving over to people's houses to sing for them to prove that I could actually do it.
Oh, guys that were like, you probably don't because I'd have heard of you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, if you sounded like Steve Perry, you'd be a legend.
But you gotta go do it anyway, even though they kind of insulted you because you're looking for bandmates.
That's right.
And they don't know what they don't know. And Steve Perry is a hard voice to emulate.
And I said, I get it too. I understand. But Craigslist was a big part of the beginning, and then you get all the hobbyists, and you get people that are not so good, and you gotta make a cake with a pile of mud, and you play in Hickory Tavern and restaurants while the ball game is on. And
Yeah, that's the ball game on is my favorite show.
play something we can dance
Especially
to.
when they got a TV like right by the band or behind the band.
Oh, right behind you.
They're
4 TVs right
enthralled
behind you.
with what I'm doing, but you're mid song and they cheer for nothing.
Oh, it wasn't
touchdown. That's
me.
right.
It wasn't me. They really loved that solo. No, it wasn't. It was a catch.
It's a roller coaster of emotions. Turn the TVs off.
So, you do that for a couple of years and you burn yourself out by lugging all your own gear and the Parcam chicken cooker lights. And, you start your day at 4 in the afternoon and you finish at 6 a.m. unloading the truck by yourself. And because you have the dream of being in a Journey tribute band. And 2 years later, all of a sudden all these other musicians that doubted you or wanting to know your secret, and so it's like concentric circles. It's small and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the idea is to just stay yourself no matter how big it gets and just, look for good people instead of, I love talented people, but I like good talented people.
Yep.
I prefer them all day long.
You've got a lot of great insights on how to be an artist and a musician, man. Like you're really down to earth about it, and that's really cool. As there's a lot of people that don't think that way, that don't take so much consideration into what they're doing, and it's nice to see someone that does.
I'm one of the people. I don't want to say one of the few people. I don't know everybody, but I'm one of the people who see the stage as a place of honor.
Mm-hmm.
It's earned, So like when Betty Lou wants to jump up on the stage and sing "Don't Stop Believing," I find it very offensive because Betty Lou, she's not in a band. She hasn't done the hard work. She just wants all the glory for free and make it her night. Mm-hmm. I was once down at the Windjammer in Isles of Palms, and we were doing a show. We had a break. This guy walks up and he says, "Can I sing faithfully? Can I sing? I just want to sing faithfully. I really sing it really great. I'd love to sing faithfully." And I said, "You know something? You know how you can sing faithfully? You can find 4 guys that are willing to learn faithfully, and you can sing it with them."
Yep.
I said, "Unless you're going to do the work, you don't get the glory."
Yeah.
And I think that everybody in a band should believe in this, because it's a place of honor.
I understand you want to sing faithfully tonight, but so do I. And I did the work to get here to do it. I'm the one that's being paid to do it. And if I let you do it, I don't get paid to do it.
Insert the wedding singer right here.
I always blame the venue owner. I'm like, oh, the venue owner gets mad at me if I have
I'd use it
people on
all
the
the time.
stage. Yeah,
I've used it so many
I don't want to
times.
hurt their feelings, but
If it was up to me, dude, you could totally play my drums, man. But the owner said no one on stage but band members. Sorry.
I always blame
there
the
you go.
insurance. I say
Insurance, yep.
Yeah.
The insurance doesn't
Insurance.
cover the audience members on the
I'm
stage.
sorry.
If you hurt yourself, we all
God, I wish I'd have thought of that.
No.
Now they're all going to know my secret and all going to get on stage at the next show.
Well, this is what happens if you do let them, because I was in a band, in a tribute band, or it was a cover band, but we let someone come up on stage one night and sing the song, and she bombed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They
And
always
then
do.
the rest of the night, it was our fault that she bombed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at first we were kind of like,
And the energy's out of the window.
Yeah, we were kind of
Room's
like,
flat now.
I don't know. And of course you got all the drunk. Oh, come on, let her sing, goddamn.
And then they all turn around and go to the
you're
bar
like,
while she's
"All right."
ruining the
and
song.
Dude, she bro, couldn't find a note to save her life, because everyone's happy at that time.
Couldn't strap a note to her if it had handles and a wood strap.
I think I just got an idea for a new Beard Has Notes segment.
That's perfect.
The drunk lady at the show. All right, journey fact number 5,
I love
fellas.
it. We're going right through these facts.
This is the one I've been waiting for because this is it's about faithfully. So
I've
faithfully,
been trying not to comment on all the facts because I got like 10 more facts for every
do it.
fact.
I'm so into it. So faithfully was released in 1983. It was written by Jonathan Cain, who is an amazing keyboard player, and the song became one of the most iconic rock and roll ballads about life on the road. It's my personal favorite Journey song, which I know it's a hit, and I don't have deep cuts, but the song faithfully hits everyone in the chest, and we talked about moments with people. Has there been anything romantic? Has anyone proposed to anybody, or
Oh, my
seen?
God.
I'm sure you see people kissing all the time during that song, but have you ever had anybody pop the question?
Let me tell you a great story. I think this is a wonderful story. It was at the Ritz Raleigh, and I was trying to impress this girl. So I was bringing her before the show up to the bar to get a drink. I was going to buy her a drink, and I'm trying to work my lead singer magic. And honestly, it was an uphill battle. I don't think she was interested. But the best thing that happened is we're there at the bar, and you would have thought I paid this to have happen. I'm at the bar, ordering a drink. Guy taps me on from behind, and he turns around and goes, "Oh my God, you're the lead singer. It's so cool. This is my girlfriend. We met at your show 5 years ago. We're getting married next week." And obviously, all of a sudden, little Miss Uninterested's all doe-eyed and But it's the coolest thing. So, but I've had several people come up on stage and propose.
That's fantastic.
And that's the kind of thing I do welcome on stage. If we could be a part of someone's, I want to say lifelong memory, if marriage works out.
Yeah, hopefully.
But and also I'm an ordained minister. I've married a few people.
During shows or just
Not at shows, but we've had 2 Journey weddings. Where
was
band
saying.
has performed a 90-minute set after I've married the couple.
That is fantastic.
And then I'm also the DJ, so I
I'm gonna remember that when my wife and I renew our vows.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a Journey vow renewal.
We got another one. We got one coming up in Kentucky.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's got a castle. It's Kentucky Castle. It's crazy. It's gonna be a wonderful time. Friend of the band's they all start as fans and they all end up as friends. And it's Fred and Shell Wiggins. They'll watch this, so I want them to hear that. They asked me to be their officiant and the band perform, and it was hard not say yes really fast. So,
That's a good day. It's fun.
it's-
A
yeah.
long day, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's. I mean, I'm the efficient. I'm in the band. I know that Fred's gonna want me to be like there at every second. So like, I'll sleep on Monday when I get home, and that's all right.
There you go.
To me, that's part of the gig, though. You know, like when somebody says, "I need you to be part of my special day," and you sign off on it, you take those excuses and you put them in the closet furthest from the front door, and you lock it and you leave it alone until the event's over because you don't want to make the sacrifice. Don't offer yourself. You know, you give everything you got, or don't give anything.
I am curious. You mentioned earlier put your phone down and just enjoy the show.
Oh yeah.
That's obviously a part of life now with everybody with their phones. But how do you feel about that at a show?
You know, I get they want to capture a moment, and that's I got to kind of see it from their perspective, that they see something worth capturing. Wow, that's an honor, you know, that they want to do that. But I sometimes worry that they want to prove they were there more than they want to be there. And so what I try to do is I say, it's so great you're taking photos and videos, but do yourself a favor, do us all a favor, and put the phone down for a little bit and just
Be present.
pick a song and just send your energy towards the stage and help feed this energy, the vibe we have in the room, and be a part of the vibe.
That's what I love about watching some of the old videos from the 80s and early 90s of concerts, because you see none of that. Everybody's
lighters.
just there.
It's lighters.
Yep.
They don't have phones.
Singing along and enjoying the show instead of living behind their screen.
I mean, it's a rough world. I mean, the thing is one of the things that Jay asked me was how have I been doing it for so long, and it's persistency is the main answer. But the other one is you got to learn to move and adapt to what's happening in the culture too. You can't expect people to show up with lighters and pretend it's 1983.
Right.
That would be so cool.
You can hope for it.
Hand them out at the door.
Yeah,
Should take phones at a door and hand out lighters.
lighters.
Oh my God.
Be wonderful. But you know, you gotta play for the audience you have. And right now, unfortunately, and I don't want to sound like this person, but right now most people are more focused at pointing the camera at themselves right now, and we're all on stage right now. And it's like, I think again it takes away from the ability of seeing somebody who has a passion for something on stage to somebody who can just jiggle in a certain way and get a million followers just because they jiggle in a t-shirt.
You're not wrong.
Write that down, Dubs. Jiggle.
Jiggle in a t-shirt? Gotcha.
Jiggle in a t-shirt.
Got you on that.
But it's got to take away some of the passion for you as a performer, not feeding off of their energy when they're just behind the
You
screen.
know, for me, the easy answer is yeah. And that was my first thought. And then I realized, and I learned this from Charlie Daniels, I'm not performing for the person who doesn't want to be there. I'm performing for the person who does want to be there. He had a book called You Don't Play for the Empty Seats. And I got to meet the man. I got to talk with him. And he had a lot of wisdom. I mean, that man obviously has been around the block 1,000 times plus one before he passed. And I sat there just listening to him talk for like 40 minutes. And I was like, wow. I thought I knew some stuff.
That's actually my mom's cousin.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he's a great guy. But he said, when I perform, I'm looking for people who want to be there. And I'm going to give them the best show of their life. Why should I cheat?
Everybody else.
Everybody else for the empty seats. These empty seats are going to ruin the show. No, you got to.
Yeah, that's the best way I've ever heard that put. We always said it that you perform the same for 1,000 as for one, and for 10,000 as 100.
Yeah, it's exactly the same concept. You know?
Not to mention, like, why would you ever perform not the best version of your show that you could do? Anyone could be watching it, and you get a reputation. You know, people talk like, "Hey, I went to go see this band. There wasn't much of a crowd, and you could tell the band was bothered by it." That shouldn't be the story. I went and saw this band, and they were awesome.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that there wasn't like 20 people in the bar or whatever. That's how you build yourself.
I went and saw Lynch Mob with, I don't know if you know who they are.
George Lynch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was on a Monday night at, what's the bar at the Comedy Zone?
It's Arizona Pete.
Arizona Pete's, a country bar on a Monday night, and there was probably 75 people there.
Yeah.
And they played their ass off.
Yeah, that's cool.
Those are my favorite kind of musicians, man.
Yeah, I did a show for like 30 people one time, and I got off the stage drenched, gave everything I had. Guy walked to me and goes, "How'd you do that for 35 people?" I said, 35 people, 35,000 people? There's only one way to sing like Steve Perry.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to nail it or not nail it. You get two choices: suck or try your best.
It's not the audience's fault that only 35 people showed up, but 35 people paid for a show and came for a show.
Yeah.
They're getting a show.
Again, that's part of the honor. Like if
Yeah.
you're going to be up on that stage, there's a code. That
Yeah.
code is you don't phone it in. Doesn't matter how many people are there. You agreed to be there. You agreed to do your very best. Do your very best. And those 35 people there will walk out going, damn,
And next
should have
time
been
you'll
more
have-
people here.
And next time
Yeah.
you'll have 70 people.
Yeah. That's how it works.
That's what I was about to say. As far as a business standpoint, like that's kind of a double-edged sword whenever you talk about the filming, because that's actually free publicity for you
Oh, yeah.
and Trial by Fire or the man, whatever it is. You know, so it's kind of a marketing tool as well if it's utilized right.
Well, think of it this way. Do you want to be known as the band that lets people enjoy filming you, or the band that confiscates phones and yells at people for
Yeah.
filming?
Right.
You know, you've got vibe is everything in this world right now. And if you've got like, you know, I'm angry with my audience vibe, well, you got a short life. You know, you're not gonna make it. So, my biggest fear is that they're gonna capture the worst of my singing in that one moment. You know, like that's where I'm gonna mess up.
You don't
in
get
my
to
head.
control what's out there
Yeah,
sometimes.
so you just gotta, you know, what I've learned to do is, and I learned a lot from Steve Perry, believe it or not, because you go fill his shoes, you can figure out what he did right and what he did wrong. He didn't read reviews after concerts,
Right.
because, and this always also helps me. If people can give Steve Perry a bad review, I'm surely gonna get one too.
Yeah.
If that amazing singer got tore up in reviews, he said the reviews, they weren't for me. The audience reaction was for me. So I don't watch videos posted online. I don't watch people, because I get torn up all the time. I'm going to post a video of me and they're like, oh, that guy is terrible. No. I read one once and I was like, well, that's the last time I'm doing that. Because guess what? It's okay. They're allowed to not like me. That's
There's
fine.
not one thing in this world that everybody likes at all. And people are going to talk bad about things even if they don't really dislike it, just to talk trash.
I mean, they talk trash about the current singer of Journey, right? Still.
What's the name? Arnel Pineda.
Pineda.
Yeah, and he's a wonderful human being. He just has the unfortunate job of trying to replace Steve Perry.
Right.
And he does a great job.
He does. I think he's a
Now-
fantastic singer.
Do you think Steve Jerry had the same problem?
Steve Algeri, the problem with Steve Algeri was he came out of managing a Gap to going on tour with Journey.
That's awesome.
And they were playing 8 shows a night, 3-hour shows, because Neil was hell-bent on getting back to where they were with Steve Perry. And they burned his voice completely out. And he should have said, I need a break. But he was afraid about losing his job, so he kept singing. And then he injured his voice.
Hey,
A great singer, though.
Great singer,
Great
great
singer.
singer. I really thought he was the heir apparent to the Steve Perry throne. He had a great tone. Great. It was not Steve Perry's tone, but he had the same soulfulness. And I think he did a great job. I really did.
The first time I ever got the chance to see them live was after he had to quit.
Yeah.
And they brought in Jeff Scott Soto.
Yeah, I love Jeff Scott Soto.
Love
too.
him.
Yeah.
He just sounds nothing like Perry, though.
Well,
or a Jerry, or.
But you know, that's
Arnel.
what Steve Perry actually picked Jeff as the one he wished replaced him, because he said he had the same feeling, but he did it his own way, and that's what he wanted for Journey was to go in another direction, not to clone him.
Yeah.
You know, like you're gonna be a band, do another, you know, like they did with Raleigh era. That was a different Journey.
Yeah.
And then now with the Kane era, and then Steve Perry leaves, you do another era with the new singer, and you kind of change the.
I'm sure that they were under tremendous pressure to find another Steve Perry.
Oh yeah.
Too, you know.
Yeah. Well, Jeff Scott Soto was a friend of.
Sean.
Yeah, Neil Sean's the guitar player, and Steve Algeri had to drop out mid-tour, so Soto jumped in as a favor, but he made the mistake of thinking he had the job,
Oh, no.
and then they just stopped calling him after the tour. Yeah, it was kind of sad.
That's not right.
Yeah,
Phenomenal singer, though.
yeah, he's a great singer.
Check some of his stuff out.
Well, he's a ton.
He has a sound check with Journey singing "I'll Be Right Without You," and it's good. It's real good. He's got a deeper voice,
Well, he
but he's
used to
still
sing
got
with
the right.
Malmsteen,
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Axel Rudy Pell.
He does that
okay.
that traveling that Christmas show. that-
Trans-Siberian
yeah,
Orchestra.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
part of them.
Orchestra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Whitesnake?
No.
Which one was in Whitesnake?
I hope
One
you
of
ask
those
that
dudes from
question every episode. Wasn't he in Whitesnake?
Yeah, one of the dudes from TSO was in Whitesnake.
Should make
at one
Wasn't
time.
it Hoekstra?
Should make that a part of the
Yeah.
drinking game.
Joel Hoekstra.
Anytime he says White Snake.
Anytime
take a
JDubs
shot.
says White Snake, audience, please take a drink. Not if you're driving, though.
But that was one question I had for you.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
What's the question?
Do you prefer someone like a Jerry or Arnell that comes in and not that they emulate Steve Perry, but they sound very much like him, or somebody like Jeff who doesn't necessarily sound like him, makes the songs his own but still stays true to the originals?
Personally, if I was in the shoes, you got to do the job. So you got to emulate Perry to a point. Because if you can't, hit the high note and don't stop believing, you ain't gonna be in the band long. But I did like that he brought his own flavor to it. I did like that. But I don't take anything away from the other two guys because they're employees. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Arnell Panetta's like, Neil says jump and he says hi boss. That's how it is. So like if.
And what a great story of how he got the job too.
And yeah, there's a great documentary out there.
On it, yeah.
And I watch it every now and then again just to remind myself.
I saw it because I was interested in his story and how he got to such a cool job. Like, I'm the singer.
What's really cool about him is he is absolutely humble as can be to this day.
He's a regular dude. He really is. And the funny thing is I actually found Arnell Panetta 3 months before Neil Sean did.
Uh-oh.
I was looking into starting the Journey tribute band, and I was looking at people who sang Journey, and I stumbled across this band called The Zoo. And he's singing faithfully, and I'm like, I turned to my then wife, and I went, this is the guy who needs to sing for Journey. Yeah. He's great. So and then like 6 months later, 6 months later, he's on an album. I'm like, what? That's
all right, Journey fact. Number 6, I believe this one is, and we were just talking about it, but this is just giving the facts to it. So Steve Perry left Journey in 1987. He briefly rejoined in the 90s, but hasn't toured with the band in decades. And then Arnel Pineda is a Filipino singer, became the band's frontman in 2007 after being discovered on YouTube, which is such a great story. And we talked about how you feel about that.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the question that I skipped because the title on that is like, have you ever dreamt about singing with Steve Perry, or would that be too much like meeting your idols? And then
I'm not the kind of person who wants to meet Steve Perry. It just would feel. I think it'd be awkward as hell. He doesn't know who the hell I am,
Right.
and I don't know what to ask him. I feel like I know him already.
What's your favorite soda?
Yeah, and if you want to meet Steve Perry, he auctions that off. It's like $100,000 to have a half-hour coffee with him. And I'm
Does
like,
he really?
Yeah, he does.
Have you seen the auction
Yeah,
he's
the
been
auction that's
having?
out there. I like that. That was good. That's good. But no, I don't. I famous people. People will treat me sometimes like I'm famous, and I try to squash it as fast as possible. I'm just a dude that loves to sing Journey and is grateful that people will pay money to come see it.
Oh yeah.
And meeting famous people has just never been something I wanted to do. I met Bret Michaels because we opened for him.
Sorry.
I'm
just kidding. I don't know.
He turned out to be He turned out to be a decent guy, real nice guy, really complimentary of me, and it was real. He didn't have to do that. And Charlie Daniels was the other one that I met. And it's like meeting your grandpa. Mm-hmm. That's all. He was just the sweetest guy in the world. So like my fear is you meet Steve Perry and he's everything you hope he's not.
Right.
So,
that's my fear of meeting some of them.
Yeah.
Is you idolize these people, and then you meet them and they're a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's all those years are just like ruined. Not ruined, but
Floaty's got a story about that he's told a couple of times on the show.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna tell it again, but yeah, some of them are amazing, and some of them are just a-holes.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily a-holes, but like can't be bothered
Yeah.
to be a decent person to you for 30 seconds or a minute,
Sometimes I understand where they're coming from because, like, sometimes, like, I'm on show number 4, and Aunt Betty wants to talk to me for 45 minutes before the show.
Yeah.
And I'm.
But yet you still got to do it, and that's part of the earning the stage. Like, just because you've been on the road for 20 days and you've met 20,000 people, this is this person's first time meeting you, man, and you're gonna leave a lasting impression because they're here for a reason. They know who you are. They listen to your music or whatever. And if you're a jerk to them, guess what? I don't listen to that particular person's band anymore.
It happens.
And it happens since.
It does. It really does happen.
Have you ever had that happen with a singer? You don't have to name the singer.
Oh no, not really. There's a couple of tribute bands out there. I'm not gonna name any names. They know who they are.
Well,
Yeah,
they
do.
take themselves a little too seriously.
I was
Chase the
gonna
skirt. I'm sorry, guys. I had something caught in my throat.
I heard they caught the skirt, so that's all that
That's what
matters.
happened.
Station in the hang.
It's my experience, though, that it is people like chasing skirts who really are nobodies that have the bigger egos.
Well, it just went. All right. That party more than that motherfucker.
I didn't know we were
right
going to
there.
be sweet talking
Well-
JDubs today.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know the theory is fake it till you make it. So, right?
In my
Hey, you only
experience, it's
live
been
once.
in my experience, it's been fake it till you fake it until you fake it, and then just keep on faking it.
Does anybody want to buy this guitar? I'll be selling this in the parking lot.
It's not in good condition. Neither am I. Actually, this is kind of for both of you. If you could travel in time to any concert or tour of Journey, what do you have one in mind? Like '83 Frontiers tour or that Houston show? That I don't really know much
Well,
about.
see, I've seen Journey with Jonathan Cain, the '81 era and on. So I'd want to go back and see the Greg Raleigh era. I'd go to like '79 and see that Departure tour. That'd be wild. I would think that'd be fun.
I don't know if I've heard anything from that era Journey. I really don't. I think it's been.
You
Steve
probably know the
Perry.
song Any Way You Want It.
Oh yeah.
No,
That's-
Departure was a Perry album.
Yeah, it was a Perry album. 70, but it had Greg Raleigh on keys still, and he shared a lot of the vocals. And it was a different era of Journey. There's been, I mean, so many now, but there's the pre-Steve Perry, and then there's this Perry Raleigh era where they shared a lot of vocals on stage, and then Perry basically, a lot of people don't know this, but Perry basically forced Greg Raleigh out of the band because he didn't want to share the limelight with him anymore, and so it became the Perry Band. And
That's when Kane came in.
that's what Kane, and a lot of people know that when Kane came in, he's the real reason why Journey turned the big corner was because he was such a great songwriter that on the album Escape, he wrote every song on the album. His
shows.
first album in the band, he writes every song. I mean, there's co-writing, but his name's attached to all 10 songs that are on that album.
But he didn't really have anything to do with the writings for the Babies, did he?
He wrote a few songs for
Did
the
he?
Babies,
Okay.
but John Waite was
Right.
running that band.
Yeah.
In fact, here's a little trivia. The song Open Arms was originally pitched to John Waite of the Babies. And John Waite said, "Oh, that's sugar, baby. That's syrup. That's too sticky for me, baby." And Jonathan Cain told that story to Steve Perry. He said, "His loss is Journey's gain because we're going to
Yeah,
write
what a
that.
beautiful song.
We're going to write the hell out of that one." And Neil Sean hated it.
Yeah.
He's like, "What the hell am I going to do during this song?"
Put your guitar down. Go away.
Yeah, and then they decided to throw it in the set one night. Neil Sean's like, "It's gonna suck. This is terrible," and the place come unglued. And he's like, "I can admit when I'm wrong."
Yeah, for sure.
Some songs, how'd they become? They almost didn't. You know.
Right.
Do you have a favorite Journey lyric? You too, David. You too, Dub. Did you have a favorite Journey lyric? Or by
Wow.
chance?
Oh man, just throw me in the mix.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Circus life. Remember?
Faithful, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. How about you? You got one yet? I'm working.
You
I'm
know,
going through
ending-
1,000 lyrics trying to find one that's.
always ending love notes with the faithfully stuff. I'm forever yours.
No, I'm trying to think through the lyrics because one of my favorite songs is "When You Love a Woman."
Oh yeah, I can recite the entire song if you want.
I'd hope so.
That one,
Just stop him when you get to the lyrics.
That's it.
yeah, that's a great song, and that song was written in a car by Steve Perry on his way to Jonathan Cain's house. That's how they used to write. He'd go to his house, Cain's house, with an idea, and then Cain would flush it out. He said he had the entire song, like all the lyrics written, until he got right to the driveway. And he walked in and goes, to get to the piano, we gotta put this down before we lose it. So that's a good song.
Do you have I know you have a favorite. But can you pick a favorite Journey song?
To perform, I'm on the Faithfully team. I just love the flow of the song. I love the sentimentality. It has difficulties in the performance that I like. That when I feel like I do it right, it makes me feel really good, and the audience reaction is very similar to "Don't Stop Believing." So it's a crowd favorite. It tests me on my higher range, and it's a beautifully written song.
It really, really is.
The one that I like to listen to that nobody knows, it's a song called "Precious Time" off of Departure, and it just rocks. It's got a great like marching beat to it, and Perry's losing his shit while singing it. It's great.
So you guys think that Journey's music will stand the test of time in like the big ways? Like 100 years from now, like is Journey gonna be as popular once they stop being able to be in the public eye and the tribute bands aren't around anymore? Do you think we're still gonna be talking about Don't Stop Believing?
What'd you take it first?
I do think there's going to be songs like Don't Stop Believing and Faithfully that will stand the test. But then there's a lot that won't. But I think the big songs they're big for a reason, and they've already stood the test of time.
Yeah. Here's how I like to answer that question. In 1983, if you were going to do a tribute with the same year distance of Journey to now, but now we're talking 1983, you'd be doing an Elvis Presley or even a 1930s show, because it's been 50 years.
Wow.
So right now,
yeah.
So here we are in 2025. Do the math. 1977, Lights hits the airwaves. That's a long time for music to be popular.
And we're still talking about Elvis.
Exactly. So like that's I often ask, like, how long is this going to go on? And I've stopped asking. I'm just going to keep going until people don't want to do it, or I can't do it, because I'm not going to embarrass myself and go out there. I already worry I'm embarrassing myself already. I don't want to. Oh no, I definitely can't do it now. Let's keep going.
But we still appreciate you coming on the show.
It's all good fun.
Well, let's talk about the things you need to let everybody know about, the things you want to plug. Let everybody know where to find Trial by Fire and your show dates and merch. And
best way to find the band. I'm one of the last bands, I think, that believe in websites. We have a Facebook page, but I despise Facebook because they hide things from people. So people trying to find you, they can't find you. Do a post about a show and like, oh, when you coming to Greensboro? I'm like, we were there Saturday.
I didn't see it.
I
It's
didn't
because
see
the
nothing.
algorithms.
Exactly. So we have those things, but I don't like to rely on them. So we have a website. It's Trial by Fire, Journey.com, .net. We own them both.
Own them all.
It's the tour schedule is there, and you can see where we're playing. You can find out all the information. Is it all ages? Is it free? Is it indoors? Is it outdoors? Is it a ticketed event? That's the way to go. And also, if you want to talk to me, you just click on the contact button, and it comes right to my email. So if you got a question, the website doesn't answer, you ask me, I'll find out the answer.
And he is super quick to get back to you. Like, my dude was...
A little too quick.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you have any hobbies, Ernie?
All right, so I really want to... do you have any other questions? Because I have one final thing to talk about, which is just another favorite thing. So
Okay. I do want to get your opinion, since you're such a good fan,
yeah.
on the turmoil within the band. Sean and Kane, with each other. Arnell, not too many months ago, posting that video saying he would quit if he got so many negative comments.
He had a bad night.
He did,
Got caught on video. I honestly, it sounded like he might have been drinking or something. I remember one day I drank so much I couldn't find how to sing. And sometimes that'll happen to you. I was at a sound check and I had too much, and oh man, I never drank so much coffee in my life. But you're trying to get ready, you got to perform, and for him to do that just shows you who he really is. He's just grateful to be a part of this machine called Journey. He's grateful that he got picked, and he's grateful that he gets to be there. And he wants to stay there, but he doesn't want to be there because he thinks he deserves it. He wants to be there because the fans want him there. And that's a great thing. The turmoil, I'm just not into politics. And when band members get into politics and preach politics, it turns me off. It's about music. It's about that vibe. Anything that divides an audience should be ignored. And I don't think that it belongs on stage. I don't think it belongs in bands. And if it's going to divide up a great band like Journey, then they're stupid to let it happen.
Yep. Yeah, we don't talk about politics on our show. And it's not that none of us don't care, but it's like you said, like, why needlessly divide an audience because we have opinions on one thing when there's so much other stuff we could talk about that we can have a nice, friendly conversation with. We don't got to talk about that. We don't talk about religion. Occasionally we do. Like, when the Pope died, we talked about some stuff. But
there's nothing wrong with that.
But we don't make controversial hot
It's when you
takes.
make definitive statements that this is how things should be.
Exactly.
For me...
and no wiggle room for hearing someone else's opinion.
Right.
I always say open to everything, attached to nothing.
Love it.
That's how I like to be. And I want everybody who buys a ticket or even gets into a free show to feel welcome. Every single person can come and sing along the journey with me, and I'm happy they're there. And anything that's going to divide that, I will happily ask the bouncers to remove from the room.
Get that guy out of here.
We don't need that. It should be about, like I said, that family vibe is what I'm looking for. You know, we're all big family.
We're here for a good time, not a long time. So let's have a good time.
Yeah.
Ernie, I want to say I'm still going to ask my thing, but it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah.
And my final thing that I wanted to talk to you about is if Journey did not exist, didn't exist, what other band would you be doing a tribute to?
I would have a tribute, and it'd be so weird, but I'd be doing like 60s soul with the whole horn sections and the big, three girls singing background, and it'd be like a 12-piece band, and we'd be doing all this cool music. That
Doing some like doo-wop R&B soul?
Yeah, like like Otis Redding and stuff like that. Stuff that just grooves. Like Booker T and the MGs. That kind of Muscle Shoals sound. That
Love
southern, gospel-y, just music that moves people. But I like the closest thing I'd come up would be like better singers than the Blues Brothers, but the Blues Brothers,
that's
that
perfect.
Kind of thing, they were okay singers. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, but they were comedians first. Yeah.
There's a song Steve Perry released. Actually, it's a B-side to Oh Sherry. It's called "Don't Tell Me Why You're Leaving," and there's a demo of it on YouTube where it's not the finished recording, and you actually hear the tape roll, and somebody yells, "Tape's rolling," and the song starts, and it's like this 8-minute jam. And it is, I promise you, it's what Steve Perry was meant to do. It's a soulful horn section band, and it's just him telling this girl to just get the fuck out of his house.
I'm done with
Don't
you.
tell me why you're leaving. And he doesn't. I think he might say fucking once in the song, but on the released one, it's up and go, just up and go.
Just up and go.
Yeah, don't tell me why you're leaving. Just fucking go. Like I'm so done, And it's just him letting it fly vocally and emotionally. And to me, if I was going to start another band, I'd want to write original music that sounds like that, and just horn section, soul, and just get that cornbread out there. That Otis Redding stuff. And
Nice, man.
Sam Cooke stuff. He's really the father of soul. Sam Cooke was. He's the first black artist to own his own publishing rights. That's amazing. 1959.
Fantastic.
The man was making money off of other people performing his music. That's great.
The dang rights. Well, thanks again, man. Thanks for coming out. And I know
my pleasure.
You're a busy man, and I'm glad we were able to work this out and that it was on the way home from a nice gig. Yeah, you guys check out Trial by Fire at trialbyfirejourney.net or .com.
Yeah.
And thank you. We'll see you guys next time. 7 days. David, thanks for coming and helping me out today. Beard, I hope your calf implants heal.
I thought they were butt implants.
Oh, butt implants. Beard, I hope you're enjoying your vacation, and we'll see everybody in 7 days. Goodbye.